In this video, we'll discuss analysis of variance when you have more than just one factor. Multi-factor analysis, also called factorial, in this case specifically two-way ANOVA. Now, we looked at our general linear model for univariate. We had refractive error, and we looked at it as a function of init years, but we know that, that there is probably a difference with ethnicity. So let's add that into this and look and see how that works out. So we're going to take the means of init years, ethnicity, and init years by ethnicity. We'll continue. And let's see what this gives us. So we have a breakdown of init years. We have the number of people, and ethnicity, the number in each ethnicity. Unfortunately, this doesn't give us the number of people in each ethnicity at each initial year. That would be helpful. Again, we reject our notion of equal variance, not too surprising. And then we have our source table. Difference from that. The init years, the sums of squares, this is very significant. That F value, getting an F value that big when the null hypothesis is true, pretty small. Same way with ethnic and also with init years by ethnicity. The interaction term tells you, is there a difference in the difference between init years as a function of which ethnicity you're looking at? In other words, all ethnicities are not parallel in their effects. We have our parameter estimates again. Again, this is this regression equation with a lot of dummy variables. We get an estimate of means for init years. This is the same as we had before. We have all the comparisons like we did before. We have ethnicity and the means. You can see overall, now this is collapsed across init years. So this is just the overall mean of ethnicity. Up here, these means for init years is over all levels of ethnicity. Here we have ethnicity over all levels of init years. And we can see which ones are different. Asians are different from everyone. African Americans are different from everyone. Hispanics, Caucasian. Everybody's different from everybody else. And then we have our table of refractive error. So we have init years by ethnicity, and you can see we have the means for all of these. However, we don't have any comparisons. So within this table, we don't know if these guys are different at this year. We don't know if they're different at this year, and so forth. We just have an overall summary. So in order to look at this relationship, we might like to graph it. Now, it turns out that in this particular order, with init years on the outside and ethnicity on the inside, it's going to be a little difficult to easily graph. We're going to copy this table into Excel and make a graph. But like this, it doesn't work out too well. I'd rather have ethnicity on the outside and init years on the inside. So let's see how we would do that. Go to Analyze, General Linear Models, Univariate. We see we have init years is first. Let's make it second. And when you do that, it gets rid of, as we eliminate, we took out init years, so it took init years away from our table. We need to put that in again. Again, we're putting in the main effects and the interaction term. The interaction term gives us the the means we want. And then when we come down here, you can see we have Hispanic out here. Now let's copy this table and put it into an Excel spreadsheet. Copy, Control click, open up Excel, start a new spreadsheet, and paste. And of these two options, the first option gives us the format and everything. That's merged cells, has merged cells in it. It's kind of a pain to use. So I go to the second little paste option here after my right click. Put that in. So let's highlight and insert a graph, excuse me. Come up to the top. We're going to insert, we could do a bar or a column or a bar chart. Let's do a bar chart. It's our chart type. Get rid of the title, give us a little more room. Let's notice our years are -7, -3. The scale is kind of low. Let's try and make this a little bigger. Try and get more numbers in. Also notice that our numbers are kind of in the way. Now, we don't want to change where the x-axis crosses because we like this 0 in here where it's positive and then goes negative. So instead, we're going to change the location of our labels. And so I'm highlighting on the x-axis here. And I click on this text or this axis options bar. I'm interested in the labels and the label position. Right now it's next to the axis. Let's make it low. And that brings our axis down here. We have all this space in here. Let's kind of get rid of that. So let's click over here on the Y. We'll come up to axis options and make that -4. -4. And that gets rid of that space. We can see now the relationships between the various ethnicities and in years. Now we could make these all different colors. You can click on each bar and make it a different color. You can just look like that. The other thing is, I sometimes like, because it's all one label, we've made this graph a single series, so it goes across like that. If I right click, oh, I don't even have to right click. So we have gap width. Let's make it, right now it's 219. Let's take it down to closer to 50. And we get nicer looking bars. So that's how we test a two-way ANOVA and plot the relationships.